the wonderful quote from Bill Gates saying that when you have money, probably you forget who you are. But when you don't have money, the world forgets who you are. So the quote essentially goes on to state the need for having money, need for creating wealth, because probably that becomes a part of the identity that in the kind of the world that we live in. And what better day than World Financial Planning Day to probably go and re-emphasize the need of having a planned future, having a financially secured future, having a financially planned and fulfilling life. So I welcome you all to this wonderful evening of World Financial Planning Day, 6th October today. World Financial Planning Day is a part of the World Investor Week. And this event, the events like this, we are not being celebrated only at ICOFP or only in India. They are being celebrated across the world. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we all together are a part of an event which is a part of the global financial planning fraternity. So that way, it's an extreme pleasure and honor for me to be hosting this event. And what makes this event all the more special is that I am joined by a couple of very leading stalwarts in the industry today. So you have seen the promos, you have seen the mailers reaching you. Let me first welcome the chief guest today, the chief speaker that we have today with us, Ms. Nisreen Bandukwala Mamaji. So Nisreen is somebody who brings more than approximately 3 decades of the experience from the financial world. And I was also looking at this coincidence that 2002, when ICOFP brought CFP program to India, I mean, when financial planning in India started, since 2002, Nisreen has been running her own financial advisory firm, MoneyWorks Financial Services as well. She happens to be the founder and CEO for MoneyWorks Financial Services. So today she is one of the best known financial planners and financial advisors in the country, widely respected for her integrity, for the kind of financial plan that she has delivered, the way she has helped her clients achieve financial goal and financial freedom. So I'm extremely honored to have Nisreen today, and not only Nisreen ma'am, I have also been joined here with my faculty members who happen to be, again, truckloads of experience here. So that way we have the financial planning practitioners, financial planning educators, and financial planning learners. So everybody coming together on this platform today. So I am not going to take much of your time. It's Nisreen's day, so she would be the one who would be sharing her thoughts. She is the guest speaker here today. So she would be taking it forward. Just to set the agenda right, so this whole event is in 3 parts. One where Nisreen comes and she speaks to you, she shares her thoughts on financial planning, the goals, the advisory, etc. Followed by, I have my extremely learned faculty members here, headed by Ms. Madhu Sinha. I think Madhu ma'am is there. Madhu ma'am, if you're there, you can also switch on your camera. So 2 of the wonderful ladies, one with 30 years of experience from the financial planning world, the other also 30 years of experience from the financial planning as well as financial planning teaching world. So that way, we will have the honor to listen to these wonderful ladies today. And then followed by all other faculty members like Dinesh Gupta ji, Hitesh, Ruchi Arora, everybody. And then I also have some recorded messages from some of the alumni, premier financial planners of the country, like Suresh Sadagopan, Kalpesh, all these guys who couldn't join, who wanted to be here today. They happen to be alumni. They wanted to be here today, but they couldn't make it because of some other commitments. So they have sent me some recorded messages that again will come to you. So that's the agenda. That's the format. The talk will be around financial advisory, financial planning education, financial planning careers, how you advise your client needs, everything. So enjoy the day. I am anyways here. I am happy to be taking this forward. So with that, I will hand it over to Nisreen Nisreen, over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Rajesh. And, congratulations and happy World Financial Planning Day to all of us who have been associated with this industry for many decades, as well as to the newcomers in the profession who are taking their baby steps either towards financial planning activity or towards becoming professionals in this field. Also, a big welcome to Raghu and Madhu and my co-speakers, who will be probably following me. So I will start with a few, words of wisdom, which I hope that you can implement and, take in the best possible way. So let's start with the presentation. Yeah. So here we go. So basically, I'd like to start with what exactly is financial planning all about. So, in very layman terms, we make a plan to do anything in life. Okay. You want to go on a holiday, you kind of make a plan. You want to meet somebody for dinner, you schedule the time and figure out how you're going to reach there. Right. But more often than not, we forget that we need to make a financial roadmap if you want to reach your retirement, or you want to go for an international holiday, which right now you don't have the budget for. You want to buy your first home. You want to buy a great set of four wheels. Okay? We all have our passions. Women might want to buy a very nice pair of diamond earrings. You might want to gift your parents. Okay. You might want to buy something for your child's first birthday. So you have to make a step-by-step approach to meeting this financial plan. So basically, a financial plan acts like a guide, and you are the person in control. Okay, it's your money. Anybody else is basically just an advisor, a sarathi, a guide, a mentor. But the control has to lie with the person who's making the financial plan. So you have to be very much in charge of your income, expenses, investments, net worth. So it has to be you. A lot of us depend on our parents, on our brothers, sisters, siblings, sometimes even our grandparents, and a lot of well-meaning friends. But I think in my few years of experience, I've figured out that it's not really a do-it-yourself kit, because more often than not, you might fall prey to the very well-meaning bank relationship manager, or somebody else who's meaning well, or even some newspaper report that you might have read, which is probably accurate only for that particular time. That advice was very timely. So you will be managing to do things on a transaction basis and not in a planned way if you listen to all these multiple people who might be very well meaning, but who may not have the entire picture in their hands, as to where you are placed right now and where you want to go. So there really needs to be a very macro viewpoint when you are conducting a financial planning exercise, which even you don't know sometimes when you start that these are the questions you need to answer. So basically, sorry, it seems to have hung. Give me a minute. Can you see the screen?
Not yet, ma'am.
All right, I'll go back to it. It hung, so sorry about that. I'll just go back to it. Yeah. So basically, what are the benefits of financial planning? One thing is that you'll definitely manage to increase your savings, because you will either manage your expenses, or you'll figure out how to possibly streamline your income a little bit. Maybe you need to take a second job. Maybe you need to change your job. Maybe you need to get self-employed if your expenses are higher than what you're expecting in a profession or in a well-managed situation. So it will definitely, you will end up cutting down your costs, because costs are two types. There's fixed costs and there's variable costs. Fixed, you possibly can't change because that will be, your rent or your food or your, commuting to work, school fees for the children. But the variable part, which is possibly, what you spend on entertainment, recreation, over and above the fixed expenses, that is something that you can definitely cut down. So you can, that's one of the ways that you can increase your savings. With a good financial plan, sometimes, you have to make adjustments to your standard of living and not definitely downgrade it. So you have to make an alternative between going to the theater to see a film or possibly paying for Netflix and, Prime TV at home. So if you make these little adjustments, you make sure that you are still in touch. Right now, because of COVID, anyway, we are not going out to theaters, and anyway, we are not going out that much to restaurants or gyms, etc. This has actually been a great learning exercise from the financial planning point of view. But in a normal scenario, when everything is open, expenses will be there because, a lot of recreational expenses will need to be controlled. And therefore, you can make adjustments to your standard of living by maybe not eating out and having friends over. So, small adjustments like that, but will definitely increase your savings. One important point is also you have to be prepared for emergencies. Again, in COVID, there's been a great learning experience because some people have lost their jobs. Some people have had to relocate. So in this situation, which of course, COVID is not going to reoccur, but there can be normal job loss or change of job for any of us. You have to have at least theoretically 6 months of expenses in your bank or in a liquid fund, which is easily accessible, so that if any of these emergencies, be it medical, job, family, child, emergency, if any of these things occur, you have a sufficient bank balance to manage this emergency. Also, I think a very important thing that you achieve when you have a financial planner or when somebody else is, got the entire math in place, is that you have peace of mind. So at our company, Moneyworks Financial Services, our tagline is, your personal CFO. Sachin, you want to say something right now, or can we discuss, in the Q&A? I think somebody's raised their hand, so we'll keep it for the, end of the presentation. So basically, what are the goals that you can possibly have, okay, when you are planning to, when you're planning a financial activity and exercise? Some of the goals that we can be thinking of is wealth creation. Now, wealth creation is generally an umbrella kind of a plan. When a person is not very sure, like when you first start work and you're a single person, you're not really thinking of dependence. So it's very difficult for a young person to start thinking of, when I retire, because that could be 20, 30 years away. But everybody wants to create wealth. So that's generally in our company, in Moneyworks Financial Services, that's something that we offer everybody. It's called a wealth creation plan. And how we, of course, go into the nitty-gritties, I can, do possibly a case study later and tell you. But the idea is basically that nobody will say that we don't want to create wealth. Okay, anybody will say, yes, wealth creation is something that I really want to do. So that can be an umbrella activity. And then after that, you break it up into possibly retirement plan, a child's plan, and you also save tax. So it's kind of a comprehensive activity where you take care of a lot of goal planning, as well as you do your tax saving, as well as the main goal is that you, start creating wealth, which can be for anything. You want to buy a car, you want to buy a home, you want to buy those earrings, you want to buy a very fancy pair of shoes or an imported bag. So any of these goals can be met through the wealth planning, wealth creation tool. Okay, so that's something that we can offer all investors. And also as a first-time investor or as a student of financial planning, one can focus on something which is very simple and which everybody would possibly need. So why do you need to have a financial plan? Various reasons. It's for the emergencies, retirement, insurance. Investments are always tied to your goals. So the first step that a student does, or a financial person who wants to get into financial planning, will be first writing down your goals and making a timeline that in 2 years, I want to buy a car. In 5 years, I want to put a down payment for my first home. In 10 years, I want to possibly go on an international day. In 18 years, I already have a child, so I want my child to go for a professional course, either doctorate or engineering or an international education. So I have to have X amount in my bank account in order for me to meet those aspirations. Also, my cash flow management. So I need to know that this is my income, X amount is going towards my savings, and the balance I will spend. A lot of us do it the other way around. We earn, we spend, and the balance we save. But I want to make a little change there. You earn, you save, and the balance you spend. That way, your cash flow management will be very proper, and your Excel sheets will be running very well. There are various trackers today. Either our banks offer us these trackers, or we have apps, so you can keep your cash flow management in place. Obviously, you want to achieve your financial goals, and the entire thing, financial planning activity, is also obviously related to something which is called inflation, right? So keeping in mind whatever we are thinking of today and whatever we want to achieve 15, 20 years down the line, in real terms, it has to be achievable. Your future values have to be, capable of managing your goals, because in present terms, you'll have a figure, you'll have to inflate that figure. You'll have to look at the real rate of return and the adjusted rate of return in order to know whether your goal will be achievable and you will meet your aspiration. Now, what exactly is inflation? So, if you there's also a chart on screen which will show you from 1960 to 2022 what has been the average, rate of inflation. In the last decade, we just concentrate on the last decade from 2012 to 2021, which is both years inclusive. It's been about 6.01%. And in the year 2017 to 18, 19, and 20, the various rates are mentioned. So these figures will go up and down, right? At the same time, you have to make sure that your real rate of return is always keeping pace with your investments. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. So as all of us are students of financial planning or have been students of financial planning or are getting into a financial plan, please don't forget that inflation will have a huge impact on your savings. So you have to consider that the milk price has gone up, petrol price has gone up, food bills are gone up, healthcare has gone up, and education fees are going to go up every year at a higher rate. So this is the figure that we've taken right now is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. But healthcare and education is hovering a much higher, around 10%. So when we calculate for each goal, be careful to use the inflation index for that particular goal as well. Now, what is the power of compounding? It's possibly the eighth wonder of the world, like we like to tell everybody. And a matter of 5 years can make a huge difference to the corpus. So if somebody is saving for 25 years, if somebody is 25 years old and is saving for retirement up to the age of 60, saving for 35 years at, say, the same figure, 10,000 rupees, at the rate of 12%, that's what possibly what the rate of return is or what the yield is. If a person starts at age 30, he will have a corpus of approximately 3.4 crores. And the person who starts at age 25 will have approximately 6.43 crores. So the question of 5 years makes a huge difference to your eventual corpus. So the power of compounding is a very, very, very big tool that we have. And so therefore, at every forum, I'm very clearly would like to mention that the earlier you start, you can also start with lower figures, but ensure that you stay put for the entire journey. Therefore, you will be able to make the wealth that you intend to make. Now, how do you make best use of the power of compounding? One is, of course, the earlier you start, the better, because compounding on compounding on compounding will take the magic effect. Also, you can, seek products or plans which have a higher possibility of returns. So just broadly, if you talk about equity and debt, okay, fixed income is another word for debt, and equity is either through stocks or mutual funds. Now, the easier thing to do, obviously, would be to go for a product which will offer you a higher rate of return. So historically, equity or the Sensex has returned a much higher return, a yield than fixed income or debt. Easy example of a fixed income product is a fixed deposit. Okay, so the difference between Sensex and the fixed deposit is nearly 10% over the last 40 years. So therefore, even though equity will be volatile, the idea is not to keep on looking, at your portfolio or your mutual fund statement and get a heart attack in the shorter term, because equity, by and large, is a longer term product. The longer you stay invested, the higher return you will make. But if you get upset at the falling market and come out, and then again re-enter at a higher rate, or when the markets have gone up, then it's absolute harakiri and you are headed for disaster. But if you are going to be investing into equity, knowing that you're going to stay put and do this systematically, which is the third point, invest regularly and stay put into your investment plan, then, in my nearly 3 decades of experience, I haven't really seen anyone losing money. Okay, it's you might make more or you might make less depending on your risk tolerance. But frankly speaking, the people who've been with me for the last 20 years have just continued putting it into their SIPs, have actually retired on with very, very beautiful purposes, have actually sent their children abroad for international education, have actually bought that home, that car, etc. So there is method in the madness, and what we say theoretically that ye hota hai, actually hota hai. It's not just in the books. I have helped lots of families achieve their investment goals, so it really works. Now, another very easy thing and simple thing that we tell our investors is how do you double your money? So if you just divide 72 by the interest rate, if it's 12%, it's 6 years, and if it's 2%, it's 36 years. So that way they will keep a track of what they are earning and how soon and easy it is to double your money, because that's a question that people like to ask. Paise double kabhi hoge? So you just tell them, what are you earning with your fixed deposits? What is your possible rate of return in an equity linked plan? And this is what you can expect, because obviously you can't make a commitment. The mutual funds are not guaranteed, equities are not guaranteed, and debt funds are also not guaranteed. But if you want to give a ballpark figure, this is a good way to make a person understand, what is the rate of return, what is the expected rate of return, and how long they will have to be invested. Also, everybody goes through financial phases, in their life. So in the early part of your career, or when you're younger, you will be looking at protection, which is basically planning your emergencies, planning your risk, which is your medical cover, and your life insurance cover, because you might have dependents. So that's the first part that you have to tick off before you venture into anything else. And also tax saving. So if you're earning beyond a certain amount of money and you have to do a tax planning, it's easier to go through the mutual fund route, which gives you the equity linked saving schemes with only 3 years of lock-in, compared to other products which give you ATC benefits, but which will have a higher lock-in. So you have to weigh the pros and cons. I've often told people to go in for PPF also, because the equity portfolios are already very heavy. So when you're doing your asset allocation, you have to make sure that there's some amount of debt, some amount of equity, depending on the risk tolerance of the person. So, all the products are very good, but of course, take care of the tax saving. Whatever you do is fine, depending on how, you have created the financial plan for the investor. The second part is, of course, your accumulation phase, where you sit down and say, okay, for the next 20, 25 years, I'm going to put away money. That normally starts from the age of, say, 25 to 26 and will continue to the age of 55 to 58, which is the time that you retire. Okay, so that's in the accumulation. You have to start putting away money for your retirement planning and for the rest of your financial goals. And once you've gone into the retirement phase, then you start thinking about succession. Who do I leave my money to? What is the estate planning that I wish to do? And so the financial planner will also help you through the estate planning exercise, and put you on to a lawyer who can also help you with your wills, etc. So basically, the financial planner will help you through all the phases, right from your protection to the accumulation to the distribution phase. So who do you want to be? Okay, that's another question that we can ask ourselves as well as our investors. Do you want to be employed, where you don't work if you don't get paid? If you want money, you have to work. you are either into a self-employment again. If you are going to go on a 6-week holiday, will your business continue without you? Or you have a very big business and there are other people who are working hard for you to generate that income. Are you in that position? Or you are also an investor. So at MoneyWorks Financial Services, our main motto is you are working, but your money is also working for you right from day one. So you have to make sure that that person who's working alongside you from your first paycheck is yourself as an investor. Okay, so both of you are holding hands because we get so busy with our own work life and our personal life that we forget about doing the investments. And also, it's not that easy for us to do ourselves. So if you have a professional doing this for you, planning your investments, it becomes easier for you. But you have to take that first step to become an investor. So as this is what Robert Kiyosaki also advises, that be the investor that from day one, and you will retire rich and happy. So what's the first step in this whole exercise? Write down your goals. Either you have a short-term goal, or you have a medium-term goal, or you have a long-term goal like education, children's marriage, or your retirement. So once you've written down this in a timeline format, you also have to see what risks that you can take, because this will depend on your own age, your liabilities, your income, your dependents, investments, etc. So the financial planner will normally have a risk tolerance questionnaire where these variables will be considered, and there is an algorithm to find out how much risk you can take, or also the subjective experience of the planner can help and decide what is the asset allocation that they should prepare for you, how much in equity, how much in debt, and that will decide what kind of an investor you are, whether you are conservative, moderate, or aggressive. Also, what is your current net worth, which is typically your debts and liabilities, which you minus from your assets and investments. How much money do I need and when? So if you start in 2021, in 2025, you need some money. In 2030, you need some money. 2036, you need some money. 40, 45, 55. So that's how you make the time plan, and you figure out actually on paper, in today's value, how much do you need? So a little bit of homework has to be done by the investor themselves, because they have to tell you what kind of house they're planning to buy, what is the current value of that home, what is the kind of schooling they want for the child, what are the present fees. So some amount of homework is done by the investor, and some amount, of course, advice is given by the planner themselves. And then where should I invest? So of course, that part of the nitty-gritty is, you decide what is your component towards equity, your component towards fixed income, some amount of real estate, gold, and the cash. So everything gets a percentage in your final financial planning, financial plan. And then, you can start investing and take the first baby steps. If you're already a mature investor, then you get a second opinion, and sometimes the current financial activity is replanned, because a lot of people are doing this on an ad hoc basis, on a transaction basis. Somebody's walked through the door and said, ye insurance policy bahut sahi hai, ye aap le lo. So wo le liya. Then after a few years, somebody has come up with another scheme, and they have said, okay, theek hai, I've got some investable surplus, ye bhi le lo. So a lot of times we find that investors have taken a lot of mishmash of different plans with no idea when they're going to mature, how much money they will get and when, what they will do when they get those matured funds. So therefore, everything has to be put down into an actual plan where you say, okay, I've invested so much in my PPF. These are the real estate properties I have, which may or may not giving me any return. These are the fixed deposits I have. And finally, this is the stocks, mutual funds, and gold. And then, you kind of rehash everything, keeping in mind exit loads and capital gains liability, because all this will attract, taxes also. So you have to make sure that the client, if you're taking on a mature investor and you're rehashing a plan, has a minimum liability of tax as well. So what does a financial planner do? What is the role of a financial planner? So basically, the financial planner will write now, and in MoneyWorks, we start sometimes from getting a PAN card for an investor, because a lot of people walk in, they may not even have, first-time investors don't have a PAN. So you get the PAN, You get the Aadhaar updated with mobile numbers and email IDs, and date of birth, so that's missing. So we've also guided people to get their Aadhaars in line. You do your know your customer KYC, and then you start them off onto the financial planning activity. So all the records are extremely important. Earlier, we've kept them in hard copy formats because we did not have so much of soft copy and so much of online transacting. Today, we do have online transactions. There are several portals. There is NSE, BSE, MFU, MF Central. So there are a lot of portals that we use. So I have, in fact, in MoneyWorks, we have moved on to online transacting in 2015. Therefore, when COVID struck and we couldn't do financial transactions through papers, we were not really too much, disrupted because we had moved to that online a long time ago. So client records are extremely important at any point of time. They might need it, or you might need to show the asset management company some proof of transactions. So we have to be very good in that. You are basically the liaison between your chartered accountant of the investor, the lawyer, and the key people in the person's life, who you have to provide facts and figures to. Yearly reports are provided to chartered accountants filing their returns. When you're doing your estate planning, you work closely with the lawyers. So you are one of the key people that the client will depend on for their necessary paperwork. And also the main thing is that you are guiding the client towards their personal financial analysis, including goal setting, because a lot of times people even haven't really thought, okay, what is a goal that I could possibly have? So even the creation of the goal is up to you. So basically, what are you? You are an advisor, you are a coach, as well as you are a leader, because there are any difficulty or disaster in an investor's life has a money connotation. So if they have a medical emergency and they need money, they will call you because you will most probably be also handling their insurance, or they need to redeem some money if it's excessive. You will have to listen to them, if they're going through a divorce, if they get widowed, if there is some problem with the child. So you are actually a very important part of an investor's life. And so, you also have to have a willing ear. You have to have empathy. You have to make time for every investor's issues and problems. So it's not just that, okay, theek hai, maine paperwork kar diya hai, I've done the paper, I've done the investment, I've sent the form. That's not enough, So besides providing financial advice, you also manage to, play the role of a counsel or a life coach. I mean, I know that a lot of my investors have depended on me for way beyond paperwork. Somebody wants to buy a house, they've asked me, is it a good decision? Should I sell my 2 BHK and buy a 3 BHK? I've also gone with them sometimes to see the properties and to help them. Is that is a kind of relationship or rapport that one has built with clients and investors through the years, where they really depend on you. So you also have to give back to that relationship. It may be time consuming, but it is a beautiful and rewarding journey when you see the investors having met their life goals. And if you are part of that journey, it's also a very, very great feeling. So this is the age-old adage: it's time in the market and not market timing that counts. And Benjamin Franklin has rightly said, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Okay. And how many millionaires do you know who have become wealthy by investing in savings accounts? Okay. So if you leave your money in a saving account or in a fixed deposit, we're really not going to get there. That's what Robert G. Allen says. And there are a lot of books that, we should be actually reading and, adding on to our knowledge, because it's not just that I've completed my certified financial planning course and I have done whatever I need to do. Most of us are regular readers, and you continuously increase your knowledge base. You can regularly in touch with the markets and the global scenario. You listen to all the fund managers who are willing to give you a earful every month. There are various leaders in our industry who tell you what is going on globally and within the country, what to expect, where to invest. So those are the things that you have to listen to with a very sharp ear, make your notes so that you can translate and give your investors that information and knowledge. So it's a continuous journey. It's not that, you have a certificate and you're done. It's never like that. It's a regular and continuous process. So with that, I will rest my case. And thank you for listening in. So I'll stop the sharing, and I'd like to invite, one of my investors, Sapna. I hope she's logged on. I thought we can share a few words of her journey, with our audience.
Ashok,
So, Rajesh,
if you can unmute Sapna Keswani. Yeah, she's a co-host now. Sapna, you can unmute yourself.
And maybe also start her video.
Yeah.
Hello, Nisreen.
Yeah, hi, Sapna.
Hello, everybody out here. It was lovely hearing you talk. And well, I would like to introduce myself as I'm a single mom. I've got 2 beautiful daughters, blessed with them. And I started off my journey with a very meager amount of salary. And I wish I had met Mrs. Mamaji way behind in my life. But anyway, the time I met her, she has invested for me so beautifully. And she has made a fantastic portfolio for me. And as she rightly said, that we can be at peace if she's a financial advisor. I'm completely at peace because she has taken over all my headaches of life, as in educating my children's money for education, money for marriage, money for pension, all of it. I'm so thankful to her. And slowly and gradually, of course, my portfolio is touchwood really done beautifully. And although in this COVID time where, I've been a working person all my life, but because of COVID, I have had some problems. We all have faced some problems in our lives, but it has never shaken me because of all my investments. So much so that I even introduced my children right from the beginning so that they could start investing through her. I did it late, which was unfortunate. I met her later on, but my children have started investing right from day one, and they are also very happy. I have planned a trip to Russia for them. Again, thanks to Nisreen that I can manage that for them. And in fact, I called her up and I told her how should we go about it. And she guided me very beautifully without much loss, and they can go with all the dividends and all that I've saved up. Again, then I had a surgery just sometime back, 2 months back. She had, got me this ICICI Lombard, and he helped me out with all the cashless. She and her team helped me out so beautifully. I had no tension, absolutely. And I'm very, very happy. I wish all should just, invest with, take her guidance. That's all. Thank you, Nisreen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sapna, for your kind words and, for sharing your experience, sharing your daughter Neha and Ranita's experience also, because they started the financial journey with their first paycheck. So, I'm very grateful that you saw the benefits and you inducted them yourself, with their first appointments with me and starting off. And so I think this has been a beautiful journey for both of us, for, we are friends also over the years because we know each other for so long. Yes. And we share personal confidences. And I think, thanks, Sapna, for trusting me when I was a newbie as well.
I completely trust you. So even when sometimes, as you said, you should not panic when you see your portfolio going down, I do not. You've never seen me panic because I have complete faith in you. I know it's down now, but I know you'll do the best. It will come up again. So I'm quite happy with you. Very, very happy with you.
Thanks so much, Sapna, for sharing your experiences.
Thank you.
So Nisreen, at one end, while Sapna and your candid chat brought to the audience the reality of how good relationships are built between a financial planner and the end investor. Right. At the same time, the chat box is now full of some wonderful compliments for you, Nisreen. So
thank you.
I can hear really a great session, great learning session, going great, important presentation for all, amazing session. And then I also
have another investor. Sorry, Rajesh, I have another investor. A couple of my investors have also logged in. So I have Vaibhavi Pawar, who's also said amazing session. I've been investing with Ms. Nisreen for the past 2 years, and she's fantastic. I'd like to acknowledge that and say thank you to Vaibhavi for trusting and working with MoneyWorks as well.
And then I also have somebody who says he wants to work with you.
Sure. I've mentioned my email ID in the beginning. It's info@moneyworks.co.in. Please send me the resume, info@moneyworks.co.in. And, as and when we are recruiting, we'd love to get in touch with you.
So on the World Financial Planning Day, I think I would not have expected a better content, both from the financial practitioner side and from the investor side. We have had a very practical feel from both ends, and I think the audience loved it. Audience enjoyed it. So with that, Madhuji, if I can request you to switch on your camera. Madhuji, can I request you to switch on your camera?
I have switched on. Yes.
Perfect.
I'm here.
So ma'am, because of the paucity of time, I will not be inviting all the faculty members, but then I am pleased to invite Ms. Madhu Sinha, the Program Director for CFP at ICOFP. And today, guys, when as a financial planner, when you venture out in the market, if you go and see, probably 60-70% of the financial planners at some point of time, they would say that they have been taught by Ms. Madhu Sinha. So she happens to be a legendary teacher in CFP program. Somebody who is a former director of FPSB India board as well, who has authored 2 books in financial planning on retirement planning, has been in the financial industry for close to, again, 30 years. So again, a legendary lady to hear. So Madhuji, would love to hear something from you on the World Financial Planning Day, some message to our students, though many of these students are anyways being taught by you, but even then some message for them.
Good evening, everyone. And I welcome you all to this fantastic program. Thank you, Nisreen ji. You did had a very wonderful session with our students, and it was really learning, interacting. I was reading the comments given by students. They are really liking it, and they have learned something different today. Definitely, as far as practical aspect of financial planning is concerned. I would like to tell all my students who are here, the participants, that when I took a decision of joining CFP, it was in the very beginning, 2002, when FPSB had come to India to make a presentation along with Bajaj Capital about the future of financial planning in India. At that point of time, I was working with UTI Mutual Fund. And at that time, there was going on a process called voluntary separation scheme. So I thought if I opt for that, I would definitely join CFP course. So I took up that step, and I left my job at UTI Mutual Fund in 2003, and I joined this course. What was there in my mind was that when I become a teacher, I'll be teaching so many students every year. In fact, they will be helping the masses to manage their money. So that is happening actually because the future of financial planning is now visible to everyone. Initially, it was very low, but now the penetration has increased. People have knowledge about stock markets, about mutual funds. They want to seek help of financial planners. So a lot of financial planners are required. As far as placement is concerned, every mutual fund, every wealth management company, even insurance companies, they look for people who have students who are doing CFP or they have done CFP. So they prefer financial planning student because the student who is doing financial planning course, they have good amount of knowledge about financial markets, about financial products, how to match the product with the client's needs. So all that is being taught to them. And with this revision in the CFP syllabus, like in the form of levels now, the learning has further improved. And I wish all my students a great success. And thank you, Nisreen ji, for joining us on this day. Thank you so much.
Madhuji, it's always lovely to hear from you, from somebody who has been teaching financial planning for almost 2 decades now. So thank you so much, Madhuji. Ashok, you can set up the video where we have messages from other financial planning practitioners and our alumni. But before that, by the time you set up the video, I have a couple of guys who have raised hand and they are willing to ask question to Nisreen ma'am. So question to Nisreen Mamaji. Prakash Seth, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening, madam.
Hi, Prakash. Good evening.
Prakash, can I request you to switch on your camera as well? Let us see.
Is it necessary to switch on the camera?
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you so much, madam. It was very crisp and very short and sweet presentation from your side. I have noted down your email ID also, and I'll be in touch with you regularly for your inputs. Can I request just for once rule of 72 slide? Can you please display again? I missed that particular slide.
Yeah, so Prakash, can you email me? I've
Okay.
kept my info at Moneyworks. It's on the chat. And
Yes.
if you need any of the slides, we will definitely send it to you.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for your inputs, and I highly appreciate, and it was very educative, very informative, madam. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Perfect. So with that, then we are now at the last part of the event. We have some recorded messages from the practicing financial planners, some of the alumni, and some of the poster faces, poster boys and girls of the financial planning industry who have recorded their messages and sent it for all of you. So they are again going to talk about financial planning, some important tips of how to manage clients, what all self-development you need to do, etc. So Ashok, Jyotsna, if any one of you can play the video and the audio.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Hello friends, it's a great privilege talking to you all on this World Financial Planning Day, and what better a day to address everyone as a financial planner and count out all the merits of the brilliant subject of financial planning. And I cannot but surely remember my teacher who had told us when I was doing the CFA course way back that regardless of whatever happens to your career as a certified financial planner, whether you are successful, not successful, and how far it takes you professionally, one thing is for sure, that if you follow the virtues of financial planning to the hilt in your personal life, in whatever profession you are, I'm sure you won't make a mistake and your own financial life will prosper. I think that words stuck to me for life, and I fortunately could make the most of it and have tried my level best to impart the valuable lessons of financial planning to one and all in a personal capacity and a professional capacity, and the virtues of discipline in attaining your goals and having a purpose for whatever amount you earn or spend is foremost taught to us in financial planning. So friends, do not forget that financial planning leads to a lovely life planning, and that is all what we want. So wishing you all the best on this day of World Financial Planning. Thank you very much.
Good morning. This is Suresh Saragopan here. It's my pleasure to talk about financial planning during this Financial Planning Day, 6th October. We plan everything in our lives, very meticulously, but even a birthday, a day out, everything we plan so meticulously. And if it is an event like a marriage, the planning actually takes place for 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year. But when it comes to something like our own finances, which is very, very important, and everything hinges on that. And we actually spend about 30, 35, 40 years of our life to earn that money and create that wealth and meet all our goals. We do not really give it the importance that it deserves, and we don't even we don't plan that properly at all. And because of that, a lot of times it's just a jumble of investments that we have, and we feel that having bought all these products, we have done financial planning. It's very, very important to plan our finances, because money is the thing that is going to help you achieve all the other things in life. So it's important to understand the area of finances If you are able to understand, if you get the basics of planning your money, well and good, amazing, you can do it yourself. If you do not understand that, you should approach a professional advisor who can actually help you with this. In fact, SEBI has created a class of professional advisors, fee-only advisors, who go by the name of registered investment advisors, and they operate on a pure fee basis. I mean, these are the people whom you can actually turn for financial advice, and you will be able to access uh, best in class, high quality, conflict free, client centric advice, which will work in your best interest. So take financial planning extremely seriously. Do it for your own good. I mean, do not neglect finances. Finances are extremely important. Give it the important it deserves in your life. All the very best.
When I stumbled upon this profession, when I wanted to fix my own financial life, I did not understand the gravity of the impact of the work that I would do. Today, 17 years later, when I meet some of my earliest clients who have comfortably put their children through good universities and satisfactorily taken care of their parents, and now are talking very excitedly about their retirement, about living very intentionally and purposefully and giving generously and being that blessing to their family and to their society. It's humbling. And also, it reminds me, and it's a wake up call for me, saying that I have to now take my job a lot more seriously. As a community, it is our responsibility to take our jobs more seriously and to up our game at this point in time, because India needs us now. The country is blossoming into this prosperous and entrepreneurial nation. People are willing to go out there and experiment and leave their comfort zones and do what really matters most to them. And it is our responsibility to help them to dispel their fears and handhold them through this process. So we are in the profession of nation building, and on this World Financial Planning Day, I wish you all the resources that are necessary to be that change maker that you can be, to be that blessing to your family, to your society, and to the nation. Jai Hind.
Have you ever sat on a driver's seat and wondered, where am I supposed to take this car? Like the car, our resources need directions too in the journey of life. As a decision maker, we take multiple decisions on career, on retirement, how to retire, when to retire, on child education planning and their career, on marriage, on buying or upgrading a house, selling a house, when to buy, when to sell, and amongst all these decisions, financial planning acts as an amazing tool which helps maximize these resources and help achieve the life milestones.
Hello friends, thank you for being a part of this World Financial Planning Day. On this day, I will share a very interesting concept of how to make our active income and passive income equal. So what is active income? Active income is something that we earn till the time we are active. Let's suppose if you are working into any company, working in a job, or you are self-employed, so you are earning an income by actively performing your duty. Let's suppose if you're working in an office, you need to be actively engaged, you need to perform, and you need to do all the duties. Similarly, if somebody is self-employed, he need to take care of his business and all other activities which is there. So in short, what does it mean? We will earn our livelihood till the time we are active. Okay, but the question is, till what age and till what time do we want to be active? Do you want to continue working till the entire life? Definitely no. So what is the concept all about? Making your active income and passive income equal. And what is passive income? Passive is something, let's suppose even if we are sleeping, our money is growing. Let's take a simple example, FD. So even if we are sleeping, we are getting certain interest on FD. So if we are investing certain amount of money, we are getting certain income out of our investments. So there, even if we are not working, we are creating a source of income by passive income. And by ensuring that, our active and passive income becomes equal, or our passive income exceeds the active income, this is the stage which we call as, attaining financial freedom. So on this day today, let's all of us oath to attain financial freedom by ensuring that our active income and passive income becomes equal. So give yourself a deadline, say next 10 years you wanted to ensure, and you will make sure that your active income and passive income becomes equal. And what is the formula to do that? If you save 20% of your take home salary or the profits that you earn out of your income, and you invest in a separate basket, it could be in a diversified asset allocation where you are investing in a mix of.
You must have read about the marshmallow experiment, wherein certain number of kids were given marshmallows and they were asked to wait for 15 minutes. If they waited for 15 minutes, they would be given another marshmallow. So 100% return in just, let's say, a 15-minute time frame. Now what happened was that some of the kids ate the marshmallow, some of them resisted the temptation till the 10th or the 12th minute and then gave in. And there were some of the kids who did not eat the marshmallow in the 15 minutes and they earned a second marshmallow. What was noted that after 20 or 30 years, the same kids were studied and it was evaluated. It was observed that those who resisted the temptation for that extra marshmallow were more successful in both personal as well as professional lives. Now, today with the social media, with the real-time comparison that we do globally, I see people are a little less happy with more consumption. So there have been Harvard studies on happiness, and I've gone through quite a few of them, which talks about the feeling of self-worth, the feeling of security, which makes a person happier, and not just the consumption and the competition and the comparison and all of that. And given that that feeling of security is so important, it also becomes important to be financially secure, to be very, very comfortable with respect to our retirement. We might want to travel in the future. We have to keep a decent amount of savings for our medical expenses as well. Along with that, when you're looking at the levels of inflation and the uncertainty in the markets today, it is becoming very, very important that we plan our financial future so as to feel that sense of security, that sense of happiness, that sense of calm throughout the growing years. And it is right now the time when you're working that you'll be able to save up for your retirement, which makes it extremely important that we plan our finances. So you need to start now. And of course, the compound interest does not only work for the money part, but also our habits. You would be able to find that in Atomic Habits, a book by James Clear, an absolutely outstanding book. So the way we plan our finances and shape our portfolio and manage our personal wealth is also about a lot of habits that we shape in terms of our finances and in terms of our saving. Another good book that I would recommend is The Psychology of Money. And it's a pleasure to address you on the World Financial Planning Day, being a finance teacher myself. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jyotsna. I think there was slight disconnect, participants, between the audio and the video. But eventually we all could kind of make sense of it, that who is speaking what. So with that, we reached to the end of the World Financial Planning Day celebrations, the World Financial Planning Day talks here today. It was lovely to have people like Nisreen Mamaji here today. Madhusina, anyways, she is always there with us. And people like Suresh Sadagopan, Ashwini Bajaj, despite being not able to make it today, they took out their time and recorded a video for us and send it to us. So these are some of the people whom probably, people in the financial planning world or financial world, they know them like anything. So it was wonderful to have all of you today. I know working day and early evening, so we all have our occupancy. So we deliberately kept the program a little shorter so that we bring you crisp information, share it on a platform, and then we kind of say a goodbye. But before I say a goodbye, can I request all of you to please switch on your cameras? My team is expecting to kind of gather this moment and share it with FPSB India and the World Investor Forum that, okay, these people came here today. So can I request all of you to please switch on your cameras? So last few minutes, so please switch on your cameras, everybody. So Ashok, I can see some very smiling faces all across. I think you have got enough of good pictures saying that, okay, this World Financial Planning Day, how it happened at ICFP.
Yes,
once
I'm
again-
doing my job, sir. I'm clicking the pics. Thank you, everyone. Please
Perfect.
please be on camera.
So once again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. It was lovely to have all of you here today, and especially Nasreen Mamaji. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time being with us here today. And I would love to call you again for maybe some of our classes here, talk and meet our CFP aspirants, meet our CFP students, and share your practical experiences with them.
Sure, Rajesh, it will be my pleasure. And, thank you everybody for joining in today. And thank you for the invitation. It was a real pleasure to meet all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Madhuji. Kanaiya, we are signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, everyone.